Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Stephanie. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. I apologize about that. I was having some technical difficulties. It looks like we have some people online, which is great. Thank you,
Yes.
everyone, for joining. Stephanie, will you be sharing or will I be doing that?
I can go ahead and share it.
Okay, great, 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 great. Wow, it looks like some people are it's increasing here. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited about having you here. As you know, we're going to be talking about middle school success with a very, very skilled individual, Coach Stephanie from our staff here at College Admission Secrets. I'm Coach Art. I know we're going to get started and I'll give it one more minute and then we're going to go and get started here. Appreciate that you guys have joined us. If you can do me a favor, first thing is you'll kind of notice when I run these things is I always like reactions. So if you could do me a favor, and on the bottom there, you will see a reactions icon. If you could do me a favor and give me a reaction, there you go. Give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. You guys are there and you can hear us. Please give me a hand, some type of reaction. One thing is if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. There you go. I got a clap. That's great. Love it. Okay, here we go. Now they're flowing. Excellent. Now, another thing I would love to see is could you also give me, are you a parent, a student, and what is the year of high school graduation for your kids? You could also tell me parent or student and what middle school grade they're in, either sixth, seventh, or eighth. If you could put that in the chat, that would be great. Love to see kind of the responses here. You guys can do that for me. I'd love to see if you're a parent or a student. And sixth, seventh, or eighth. Sixth. Okay, we got some sixth graders. Awesome. Okay, we got some parents that are both, in high school, got a seventh grader. Love it. Okay, excellent. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started on this. We have a number of people on the line, which is amazing. So thank you very much for joining us. If you could, Coach Stephanie, if you could give us or go to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
Okay, as I mentioned, dropping your child. Here we go. So one thing here is over the last 15 years, we have absolutely connected with over 4,000 families on Instagram, 11,000 families on Facebook, 30,000 families on TikTok. We have helped so many students gain acceptances in particularly the UC campuses, but not only that, across the country. Ivy League colleges, top 20, 50, 100. And we have a pretty good acceptance rate. 98% of our coaching families get into their top 10, 93% get into their top 5. And then, of course, there's a bunch of them that get outside of that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and even more. When we talk about our success, you can see here, the success or the proof is in the pudding here. So you can see all of these comments from our students. Some have made it over into Emory College, into Cal, okay, into University of Virginia. You have USC, person made it into the BSMD program, okay, at UMKC, UCLA, Berkeley, UCI. You have people who have made it into Caltech, University of Portland, Mount St. Mary's, Rice, even external in Canada as well, internationally. People at ASU, Berkeley again. You can see CW, okay, and so many more colleges across the country, top 20 that have made it in. You can see here Chapman University, San Diego State, Texas Tech. One student here got into USF and got $88,000 worth of scholarships. So because we not only work on getting acceptances, but we also work on getting financial aid. We are a full service, and we're just so proud of all of our students and the things that they do. So we always say, don't listen to strangers online, okay? So I want to go ahead and introduce myself. First of all, if we can go to the next one, Coach Stephanie. I'm Coach Art, okay? I'm a college admissions coach. I'm also a parent liaison. Some people call me the student whisperer, okay? Just because why? I'm a dad. I'm a dad of three boys. My oldest graduated from UC Berkeley with a mechanical engineering degree last year. My middle son is pursuing a pre-med bio degree at U of I, University of Illinois in Chicago. And then my youngest will be attending Biola University. And he's going to be a college soccer player as well as pursuing physical therapy. So been there three times as well with my own kids, but also I have placed hundreds of students across colleges across the nation. I've been a technologist for over 30 years in Fortune 500 companies. I've been a life coach as well as a sports coach to students and young professionals for over 20 years. I've been in the college admission space for over 8 years, but frankly, that started because of my oldest son. Because probably out there, for many of you, you probably have been there and you're like, gosh, I didn't even know what's going on, especially when they're even now starting even younger, and you're probably getting pressure from all these people saying, oh my gosh, do we need to get started from a middle school perspective? And that's what we're going to talk about today, right? So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Stephanie so she can go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I am Coach Stephanie. I'm with College Admission Secrets. I'm an advisor here. And can you all hear me? If you can give me a thumbs up to make sure that you are hearing me on your end. Okay, cool. Coach Art is saying he can hear me, so I'm assuming you all hear me too. So like I said, I'm an advisor here with College Admission Secrets. I have been working in higher education, including admissions, for over 10 years now. I have coached students from middle school to through high school. But I am our resident middle school specialist. I love our middle school students, love talking to getting a little tongue-tied, middle school students very much. I have a passion for it. I think middle school is so important, and it's a great time to talk and start thinking about college admissions, which we'll talk a little bit about that in detail tonight and how to address it with a middle school student. What I love about what we do, something I'm very passionate about, I love seeing people grow and learn and get better and grow into those things that they achieve to see. And I get very excited watching our students here and seeing what our students do in our program and all the successes. It's so motivating. It's so exciting. And I want to talk to you guys tonight on how you can get a head start with your middle schoolers on the college admissions process and what that looks like for middle schoolers. So in this session, there's three things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the three main factors your child can leverage to get a head start in their college admissions process. We're also going to have an opportunity for free assessment and evaluation for your family. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll also do a live Q&A at the end. So any questions you have, drop them in the chat. We'll address the questions at the end of this session and try to answer as many questions for you all before we end tonight's session. So now, why think about college admissions in middle school? Why do we even think about it? Well, a national survey conducted last year found that 92% of 7th and 8th graders said they were likely to attend college, but 68% of them said they had little to no information on what classes to take to prepare them for college. So a lot of times when I talk to parents, they say middle school is so early to talk to a high schooler. I don't want to talk to my 6th or 7th grader about what colleges are interested in or putting, what they want to do for a major and putting all this undue pressure on them. That is not what we're doing with our middle schoolers. Middle school is the chance to lay the groundwork for a successful high school career. So in our middle schoolers, we're not talking about college for our middle schoolers. We are practicing for high school. We are preparing them for high school. Now, why is it important that we do that? While colleges don't consider your middle school grades, they do start considering your grades starting with day one of 9th grade. So we want to make sure that we are preparing our students in everything, with their academics and everything to make them and give them that foundation so that when they start 9th grade and start high school, they are prepared to step into that college admissions path and to be successful from day one. So now when it comes to preparing a middle schooler for high school, there are three factors that we want to talk about and consider. The first one is called actualization. So with the actualization, the one thing that we're talking about more is self-actualization, which self-actualization is defined as the realization or fulfillment of one's talents and potential, especially considered as a drive or a need present in everyone. Abraham Maslow, who is a humanistic psychologist, he described it as the process of becoming everything that you are capable of becoming, or another way to put it, the ability to become the best version of yourself. So we want to help our students become more self-actualized to help them start becoming the best versions of themselves. So to build, when we're building self-actualization in middle school, things that we're doing is looking for experiences that bring your student joy and wonder. Does the student lose track of time during these experiences? I'm sure if you think about things that you think about things that you enjoy, that you just lose all self of, track of time, and, hours can feel like minutes. That's the sort of things that we're talking about, and things that we want to help our students find those things, those experiences that bring them that joy and wonder. Then when they're involved in these tasks as well, or these activities, do they feel like what they're doing is important, valuable, and unique and special to them? So I'm curious, from my families that are here on this call, how many of you guys, your students, are really involved with sports? Give me a thumbs up if you think, if your student is really interested in sports, they love sports, that's something that they really enjoy doing. Now, if your student is really interested in love technology, coding, robotics, that sort of stuff, if your student really enjoys that, give me a high five, or like a hand up, like you're giving me a high five. Do we have any parents who like, or students who like technology? There we go. Okay, awesome. So now if you've got a parent, if you're a parent of a student who likes something else in STEM, maybe math or any science like biology, environmental sciences, give me a heart for those students. Any of those students out there that really enjoy music? Awesome. I see someone loves playing video games. I would say that's kind of in the technology standpoint. So now how about those parents that love or have students that like to do music or dance? Give me a number one. If your student enjoys, throw a number one in the chat if they enjoy doing any sort of music, dance, playing instruments, that sort of stuff. Oh, I saw somebody did a piano. Awesome. So there's a lot of different activities that students can get involved in. It's about finding those experiences that really get your student excited. Now, part of building self-actualization as well is getting down to the who are you? Who is your child? Who is your student? Work on building self-esteem, work on building self-confidence in who they are. Self-actualized people fully accept themselves, embrace others for who they are as well. So, and what we want to do is start preparing our middle schoolers for life so that they become ready to tackle the issues that life throws at them as they continue to grow to adulthood. We want to build their independence, develop problem-solving skills, start to get them thinking a little bit different, and really getting a good, starting to get a sense of self and who they are throughout their middle school. We also want to start building that sense of purpose. What is their purpose here? And start laying the foundation also for realism. A lot of times, a lot of our students, especially when we have very bright, gifted students, they can be a little bit of perfectionists. I'm sure, a lot of you guys out there have kids that are perfectionists, And we want to make sure that they understand it's okay to not be perfect. You don't have to be perfect to be successful in the college admissions path or in life. So letting them know it's okay, to make mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and that it rarely things go as planned or as perfectly as we would like them to go, and help them be able to learn how to face the unknown as it unfolds, so they can face all the unknowns logically and rationally as well. So again, making sure that they know how to think and problem solve things rationally, think of things logically, so that they don't get too overwhelmed or freak out when, life throws us those unknowns. And most importantly, help them enjoy the ride. This should be enjoyable. We want our students in middle school and high school to enjoy the ride. They are in this point in their life once, and so enjoy it while they're going through it. Now, the second factor that we're going to discuss is academics. So this is probably one of the biggest things that a lot of times parents want to know is, what do we do with the academics? Now, when it comes to academics and why it's so important to start addressing them in middle school, is classes taken in middle school does set the trajectory for where they're going to start in ninth grade. Now, note, and we're going to discuss this a little bit further, but this is especially important for students that have strengths and interests in STEM. The STEM route is a little bit different than students who are looking to do like an arts route. So for anybody that's STEM related, this is especially important so that they can start their high school path on that right foot for those STEM students. When it comes to those academics in middle school, we want to test rigor. Again, this is a good time to start seeing where your student is at. We don't want to set them up to fail anything or push them beyond what they're capable, but a lot of times, especially with bright students, they are capable a little bit more, and sometimes they're sitting in their classes or getting bored. Let's test their rigor and see what they're capable of. Maybe their math class is too easy, and we can put them in a higher level math class. Those are all ways that we can test rigor. You can even test skills outside of school, taking classes online, different ways to kind of see where they're at and what they're capable of to make sure that they're in classes appropriate for their knowledge base while they're in middle school. We can also look at developing study skills. Now, when it comes to study skills, we want to work on their time management. Time management is very, very important, making sure they know how to manage their time appropriately. So starting to teach them those time management skills so that they have them in place by the time they hit high school. Again, organizational skills, how to organize things, find you those tips and tricks that work for your child to help them keep organized with everything. Again, so when they start high school, they have those organization skills in place, know what works for them. So when they're in high school, when it really counts, they've got those skills in place already. And again, good study habit skills, a very important skill to have so that they know what good study habits are and can start implementing those good study habits along the way. We also want to work on expanding those critical thinking skills, starting to think of things a little more critically, problem solving them, how to problem solve through things. We want to be working with our middle schoolers on those. We also want to start identifying strengths and interests in academic subjects to start. Now, notice it's emphasized start exploring potential careers. So we're not having conversations as far as like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some students, they know from an early age and they are very set that they know that they want to be a certain thing, but it is so normal and most students at this age, they really don't know, or they have an idea based off of what you as their parents do. In middle school, they're only, what they know through middle school is what they've been exposed through, usually with their parents or a close family member and what they do as a job. But start kind of looking to see where their academic strengths are. So if they're really strong in math and science, and then possibly, help them explore areas in STEM that they might want to go down a STEM route. If they're weak in math and science, but they're really musical, they enjoy English, history, stuff like that, then start looking for careers that maybe will play more into their specific strengths to start kind of exploring and more getting them exposure to things. It's not about solving it, figuring it out this age. It's more of that exploratory to start kind of just barely starting to have conversations, or as a parent, start to think about potential paths that you could expose your child to. Then the other thing that's extremely important with our middle schoolers is strengthening any academic weaknesses. So students who earn B's and C's in middle school, they typically do the same thing in high school if there aren't steps taken to help them improve on those grades. So it's important that you help them improve grades, make sure they're improving their grades. Maybe it is just a situation of they need to strengthen their study skills or get better time management skills to help them get that time needed to study appropriately for their tests and their classes. But sometimes it is a content issue. A very common one is math. Not all students understand math. It's a very common one to struggle with. So if your student is struggling with the actual content, look for ways to get them tutoring to bring their understanding up of that subject so that they aren't struggling with it, so that as they progress through high school and these classes get harder and harder, they feel much more prepared, they handle it better, so that they can keep up instead of continuing to struggle throughout high school. So, and there's a lot of different ways that you can get tutoring. There's paid services. A lot of times schools have free services, or there's even sometimes within communities, they provide free services for tutoring. So finding those services that are out there that are available, there's lots of them. It's just kind of knowing where to search. The school is always a great place to start, or you can always look at tutoring companies to pay for a tutor if your finances allow for it. Then for our students, when part of what we want to do in middle school is look at starting an advanced or an honors track while they're in middle school. This is, starts to get important. So one way that you can do that is starting to take foreign language. For example, if your school has Spanish 1, the middle school that you're attending, if they have Spanish 1 or French 1, some of these foreign languages, that's a great way to start. If they're ready, get them into Spanish 1, French 1 by 8th grade. So what that does is they get that out of the way, and that frees up their schedule in high school because they won't have quite as many of their foreign language classes to take to get the amount of foreign language that helps them in the college admissions process. And it helps to free up their schedule for other electives, other APs, some dual enrollments, which dual enrollments are those classes that you take through a local community college or junior college. So by being able to get some of these courses done early can help free up their schedule as time goes on, especially in those key years of 11th and 12th grade. Then for our other students, like a student who is interested in STEM, especially if you are looking at computer science or engineering, we want to make sure for our STEM students that it is incredibly important to try to get them into at least by 8th grade, that they are completing Algebra 1 by 8th grade. So if your middle school offers Algebra 1 and your student is ready for it and they are looking and you think that their strengths are where they're going to go down a STEM route, especially computer science or engineering, we want to get that math done and early. The reason for this is because the math that is required to be competitive for an engineering or a computer science degree to get into a lot of top schools is beyond a high school math level. So if we set them up and get at least Algebra 1 done by 8th grade, then we can move on to more advanced maths in their freshman, sophomore, junior year. So hopefully by their junior year, they are taking AP Calculus BC as a junior, which is typically the highest math that most high schools offer. so that they can take in their senior year math such as discrete math, multivariable calculus, linear algebra. That's what we want to try to do, is to get them those level maths through a dual enrollment at a community college in their senior year. So by getting a STEM student, if your student is leaning towards something STEM, by getting them through Algebra 1 in 8th grade helps to open up that path and make it a lot easier for them through high school to be on that track, that advanced track that's needed to be competitive in those types of majors as a for a lot of the top schools. So it's helping really lay out and set, again, that groundwork so that they're successful in high school and have a little bit of an easier path in high school. Now, for reading, a big thing to do with it when it comes to academics is we want to promote reading. Reading is extremely important in middle school. We want to encourage our middle schoolers to read. It helps to build their vocabulary and hone skills that the student will need in both high school and college. It's also a great way to start preparing them for the SAT and ACT. And when they read, they can read on any sort of topics. It's just about getting them to read. So you don't need to force them to read something that they don't enjoy. Find a topic they enjoy, whether it's sports, whether it's on computers or something IT related, whether it is a popular fiction series. There's a lot of popular fiction series out there that kids tend to enjoy. If they like reading fiction books, read a fiction. If they like reading about animals, read about animals. There's so many different topics that, any topic that your child is interested, it's all about reading. And it can be magazines, books, online articles, any sort of reading. The goal is to just get them reading. And then what I highly recommend as a parent is regularly discussing with your student what they are reading to make sure that they are comprehending what they're reading. Talk about what it is, have them, if they're reading a series, check in, what's going on in the book, what's the latest developments. If it's, another topic, sports, animals, what did you learn today? What did you read about, or what did you find particularly interesting? So by regularly discussing with your child what they're reading will help to boost their comprehension skills as well, which of course we want them to comprehend what they're actually reading. And if they're not, sit down, read with them, talk to them about it. Reading is super important. We really want to boost our reading comprehension with our middle schoolers. Now, our third factor, activities. Activities is the third factor that we're going to be discussing today. So activities, when it comes to activities, what our activities are doing are helping our student learn better communication skills, teamwork, confidence. They are also confidence building that are all important for them to have in high school and college in the future. So when it comes to our activities, explore activities that the student is interested in. So find interests in, explore different activities, have them try different things to try to find activities that the student is drawn to, that they enjoy, that they look forward to, so that they will carry on in high school. Because what that does is if we start high school with activities they already have interest in, they'll carry them through high school and show that longevity. We don't want to start the exploratory process as a ninth grader going in. It's best to do it in middle school so that they do have their key activities that they are interested in going when they start ninth grade. So things that they can look at doing is joining clubs, exploring extracurricular interests in any topic, whether it is music, dance, art, computer science, anything like coding, robotics, if they're interested in medicine, basically any sort of extracurricular activity, we want to explore those interests and find those things that they're interested in. Look at volunteering. There's a lot of different ways to get involved in volunteering within the community, at the school. Maybe it's in your religious community. That's the other thing you can look at, is doing service within your religious community. If you are a part of one. Or the other thing you could look at is potentially even starting a business with your child. And it doesn't have to be something big. It can be a small business that they run, that, again, it's an activity that they start to build that independence, and start building those self-actualization skills too. Lots of different ways that you can do business or do activities. So part of exploring activities, discuss and pursue any unique talents and interests that your child has. So if your child already has some unique talents or interests in anything particular, discuss it with them and pursue it. Identify potential leadership roles. And leadership roles, a lot of times people think you have to have a special title, such as, a president or manager, CEO, something like that for leadership. They don't need a particular title or anything. It's leading groups, leading projects, leading initiatives. So start to identify some potential roles for leadership. Now, a lot of times I hear from parents is, my kid is really shy. They're not somebody that wants to step up in front of people and talk and lead big groups and stuff like that. That's okay. Not everybody is. There are other ways, such as leading a project, getting involved in something where they lead a project on their own. Maybe it's their own project that they do, leading an initiative. Even it's leading small groups, like, doing tutoring. I've known some kids that are bright, that are more shy, that they'll tutor kids, and it's more of that one-on-one, and they feel comfortable with that. Those are all ways to do leadership as well. For your child in their activities, when you see what they're doing and start seeing their interests, start envisioning possible careers for them so that you can help talk to them and help them make connections between their strengths and potential interests that could lead to potential careers. So, and then you also want to delve into personality traits, kind of like I was saying again, there's different personality traits that tend to go better for different jobs. If someone's really shy, they're probably not going to want to do what I'm doing now, which is being on a Zoom talking to, people. And so, look at their personality traits and start to make those connections again. Again, we're starting to just lead and starting to think about what that may be, what those potential careers could be, so that when we think about their career paths, we are matching their high school course to those potential career paths. Because again, what career path they may potentially take in the future will influence what they major in, which will also influence what courses they take through high school and what is the best path to get them ready and competitive to get into those majors that they want to go for in college. Big question that I get asked all the time, but what activity should my child do? Do what they enjoy. It is not so much about what specific activities. We want them to do activities they enjoy. They get fulfillment out of it. They get value and see value in it for themselves. They're passionate about it. They have those interests in it. Do what your child enjoys. And again, middle school, sometimes middle schoolers aren't sure. Explore. This is a great time to start exploring everything. And it's okay to make mistakes as you explore, or sometimes you find something that you don't like. That's okay. Try something else. This is the perfect time to be exploring. So, special considerations when we do work with our middle schoolers when it comes to college admissions. Number one, do not stress college during this time. Middle school is not to be talking about college. We are preparing them and exploring them, exploring and developing them to get them ready for high school. So again, this middle school should be used as a time of exploration and development. We also want to be developing those academic tools for success and exploring the areas of interest in academics and activities. And then find that right balance between adequately preparing them for high school. Then when they're in high school, we'll talk about college, and without overdoing it or creating burnout. So this is important for all of our students, both middle school and high school. You want to find that right balance with their academics, with their activities, so that you don't overdo it at any point along the path, either middle school or even in high school. The last thing we want is for our students to get burned out by the time they are done with high school, that they don't even want to consider college. So it's about really finding that right balance and taking those right steps all along the way that makes the journey much easier on our students. Then it's important and it's key. Every student, whether middle school or high school, should be getting 8 hours of sleep every single night. And then we still want to find time for what I like to call me time. Me time being anything that's not school or a specific activity, that you're doing. Me time is just time to relax, time to go hang out with their friends, go see a movie, hang out with their parents. Maybe it's, they enjoy doing TikTok or whatever it is. It's just time to allow them to relax and not have to do anything related to anything specific. So we want to make sure that we are managing everything appropriately between their academics and their activities to allow them to get adequate sleep and me time. So that is, in conclusion, that is the end of my presentation on how to handle middle school students. So we'll be opening up to some questions here in a couple minutes.
All right.
So
Sounds good, Coach Stephanie. We're gonna open up some Q&A in a couple minutes or so, but I think there a couple of things that I can present. Okay. So, couple things before we start with the Q&A. If you are interested, absolutely, if you're interested in getting a head start with our program, especially for middle schoolers, we would love to book a free one-on-one Head Start call with you. Okay, that's going to be a session in which we talk to coaches, such like Coach Stephanie here, and we review where you're at and what are kind of the possibilities and things that we would recommend for your particular child. Okay, now with that said, Coach Stephanie, can you go to the next one? Okay, so just to give you a little bit of insight, okay, of how we've helped some students out there. You can see here it says this particular family, I didn't know what I didn't know, which is a lot of times families, that's what they say. They don't know what they don't know. I was in the same boat when I was talking actually even with my high school student. My daughter's class of 2025, when we started planning when she was in middle school. This is a critical time for those, especially looking at top tier colleges, to be able to plan for classes and resume buildings. So you will be meeting with our middle school specialist, which is Coach Stephanie here, the expert in our area. And so again, if you're interested in booking that session, definitely let us know by, and if you could do the next one, Stephanie, I believe there's okay, so during the Head Start call, what's going to be happening? It's a 15-minute call. It's free. We review the child's profile. And what we do is we identify classes, of course, that your child would be possibly considering that would be based on either potential interests, their passions that could translate into careers, and then also potential activities. But the key thing, as Coach Stephanie mentioned in her presentation, was stuff that they enjoy, stuff that really would be a great fit for them. Because if they enjoy it, they're going to put the hours in, and they're going to excel at it. Okay. Next slide. So we're going to open it up for Q&A, but if you want to go ahead and book your free 15-minute Head Start call with Coach Stephanie, what we want you to be able to do is go ahead and do we have a number there, Coach Stephanie? Or is that the last slide there?
Nope, that's the last one.
Okay. So go ahead and type in our chat Head Start. Okay. And what we can go ahead and do is we can go ahead and contact you. All right. We're going to go ahead and contact you with respect to a free 15-minute Head Start. So Q&A, Coach Stephanie, there is I'll kind of go through the questions here a little bit. One question is, should they do anything different for a pre-med track?
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
Great question. So when it comes to pre-med, the biggest thing that we want to prepare them for is I mean, they don't quite have as heavy of a math component for pre-med students as they do for a like a computer science or a engineering program. So with a medical track, what we really want to do, so like instead of the, you know, if they get through like a calculus AB or something like that, if they get through a calculus BC, great. Instead of taking those dual enrollments, I would recommend looking at an AP stats for a medical route. But the biggest thing that we want to do too with a medical route is really maximize all of the sciences. Make sure they're very strong in science. Looking at doing like making sure you're getting your AP Bio, AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Physics. You could even add in other sciences if you want. So a lot of times, because most students who go a pre-med track usually tend to major in biology, biochemistry, molecular and cellular biology, anatomy and physiology. So taking those hard sciences are especially important for a medical track, and statistics can be very helpful for a medical track as well. So, you know, that's what I would more recommend. It's kind of the same as at computer science and engineering with those hard sciences, but I would add in, instead of doing the discrete math, multivariable calculus, those level of maths, I would do an AP stats instead.
Yeah, and Coach Stefan, I would add to that is that a couple of things um, with respect to a pre-med or let's say pre-med track, there are actually alternative um, majors that they can go into as well.
Yes.
Remember,
Yes.
going into a pre-med or going to medical school per se. I mean, I've seen students that had a music degree that went into,
Yeah.
you know, into to medical school. But the key
Yeah.
thing is, yes, they'll medical school will require some sciences and math or so. The key thing here is a lot of times parents or families get wrapped up is and we didn't mention it, does the activities have to be specifically related to the major? Not necessarily.
Right.
And why I say that is because it's got to be something that they're completely and absolutely passionate about. You'll deal with that once they get into college in the route of getting to medical school, but just even in the middle school arena, what I would recommend is if they have a desire with respect to a science route that would lead them to pre-med, have them try to do a personal project, and it can be a simple one. It can be a simple biology project. Maybe
Mhm.
they look at if they're going, let's say pre-med, and they do a thing where they use a simple microscope to explore, you know, protozoans or something like that. Something that gets them interested in the act in a biology route, or even if they go with alternative majors like psychology or
Mhm.
neuroscience. Sometimes I've seen people, some kids with math, okay, that any of those, again, doesn't have to be necessarily exactly related to medical a pre-med like a pre-med bio, just because the schools, the medical schools themselves, they're looking to see if they really excelled in, of course, the sciences and the math, but
Right.
also are they what kind of person that they are. And when we're talking about going to college and doing an application, going to college application, the key thing is they're doing something that they love and they're passionate about, because then that's going to show through their application. And at the middle school, as Coach Stephanie eloquently stated, it's really right now about discovery. It is not. Don't worry yourself about the college application itself. It's about discovery and learning what they love and they're passionate about, and to get introduced to that on both the academic and the activity level. So,
Yeah.
here's another question for you, Coach Stephanie. What kind of volunteer opportunities is appropriate for middle schoolers?
Yeah, great question. There's so many volunteer opportunities that they can look at. Whether it is, you know, like if you are part of a religious organization, they can always do volunteer work with your religious organization. You can look at, there's, you know, different organizations that they can volunteer doing, like cleaning up beaches. That's you know, something that sometimes kids can get involved in. Working at homeless shelters, helping to feed homeless, or collecting, you know, canned goods, or there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. There's no right or wrong way of doing volunteer work, a lot of times, again, going along with those lines of finding their passions and their interests, is there a cause that they're particularly interested in, and finding something that's along those lines with that cause that is, that is appropriate for a middle school student to do. So, sometimes it's even, helping with different organizations have fundraisers and helping them run or organize things for fundraisers. There's a lot of them, from, organizations that do fundraisers for cancer, that have different events, from golf events or whatever. There's so many different ways that you can volunteer and get involved to help in various capacities. So, it's just kind of finding those organizations and getting involved that allow your student to get, to work with them to put in volunteer time.
Yeah, and Coach Tony, just to Coach Stephanie, just to add to that, the key thing here for especially for middle schoolers is that you're doing things that they're passionate about. And I say that we say this not just for the middle schools, but even the high schoolers, or even even older. And the reason why is because if they do something they're passionate about, they're gonna put the hours in,
Right.
and they're going to be more inclined to take leadership positions in that. Now, if we're talking about something as middle schoolers, a lot of times they don't know what to do. The simple thing, as I mentioned, is a personal project. Go ahead and start something that's simple, that and have them write down on a piece of paper what are the things that you love, and then from there, once you do that, you can start looking at do a Google search and look for organizations in your local area that may apply to that. For example, if they're animal lovers, you can go and type in, is there animal shelters in the local area that they can volunteer and help with? Maybe they can walk dogs. Maybe they can help clean clean the stalls or whatever it is, right? You can also do shadowing opportunities where, let's say they want to be a veterinarian, so they can reach out to the local veterinarian and say, hey, can I shadow and just watch what you do? There's opportunities to reach out to individuals to ask them. And it's not the case where you're asking them, hey, can you allow me to do something? You're just inquiring and discovering what are the things that they do. So if a kid wants to be a physicist or is really interested in physics, then contact the local physicist at the college, at the various schools, and say, hey, can we interview you and just find out what you do? And so those are the kind of things where the type of activities, yes, they could be associated to formal organizations like at the school level, clubs or so, or clubs that are outside professional organizations. But the key thing here is it's got to be something that they love to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Anything? I think those are the only two questions that we received here. Any more questions from the group? This is amazing. We have so many individuals on the line. We thank you so much for being here. How did you think about, give us please a thumbs up or a hearts about the information we provide you today, because we always love to have input. Great, there we go. The hearts are flowing, which is great. So if you want to have more information, if you want to have a free 15-minute Head Start call, please contact us by putting Head Start in the prompt or the chat there, please. And then we will go ahead and get back to you. This is a prime time, as Coach Stephanie had mentioned. This is a prime time to discover, to really expand their minds and really understand, what potential they want to do, and also to prep for high school and prepare them to be able to do some amazing things in high school. Oh, let's see. Is dual enrollment possible for middle schoolers? Do you want me to take that one, Coach?
Sure,
Stephanie,
you can take that one.
Yeah. So dual enrollment is possible for middle schoolers. Actually, I've seen middle schoolers as low as 7th grade take dual enrollment. The one thing here is, first of all, you need to get approval from a counselor, because so if it's 7th grade, it would be a counselor from the middle school. If it's 8th grade, it would be because if they take it during the summer, it'd be the counselor at the high school as that they represent. Now, the one thing here is, I always say, sometimes it's very difficult to take dual enrollment classes, because remember, they're going to be in class with students that are now either at least sophomores in high school or more, and then of course college students. And so the maturity level of your student, do they have that maturity level? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the thing is that you do need to get approval. I have, and what Coach Stephanie had mentioned is normally what we recommend is to get ahead. It's either math or some type of foreign language. That is the key thing. Because if you remember, if you guys don't know, with respect to foreign language, a foreign language, one semester of foreign language in a community college is equivalent to 1.5 years of high school foreign language. So if you think about it, if they do a foreign language in their summer after their 8th grade, they could already be on the road for 1.5. Normally, it's recommended for 3 years in the high school level. They do 2 semesters at community college; they're already done. And what that allows you to do is to free up your schedule for, unless they want to go higher with their particular language. And then, of course, why we recommend math. Again, I would always recommend doing it the summer before your freshman year, because then they could get, they can get into the advanced math track. Those are the kind of things. Now, if they want to take maybe programming, which is another good thing they could do, programming if they like computer science, we don't recommend to take math. Sciences. We don't want to recommend to take any sciences at the community college level because the curriculum is different than what the universities, the 4-year universities look for. Okay, but again, introduction to maybe in like psychology, sociology, and anthropology. Those are really good classes that are easy. And if you want to, you could take a history course, but sometimes that's a little bit tough. Okay. Let's see. Is there any other questions? Let's see. Is there another question? So here we go. How much do your programs for middle schoolers cost? Are these structured programs or one-off counseling?
You want me to take it?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. So as kind of like a high level, which, if it were, I'm always happy to meet to talk about more details and how exactly we work. They are structured programs. And one thing that I love about us that we do is, so we work with as young as 6th grade. And so with us, we do not charge year by year. That's something that I love about what we do. So whether you start with us in 6th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade, or start with us, say, in your sophomore year of high school, you actually don't pay any more money, because we do, what we do is when you start with us and you pay, your child is in our program with everything they need to help them through the entire college admissions path, from middle school through high school, including their application season through June 30th of their graduation year. So let's say you've got an incoming 6th grader, their class of 2031. So if you put them in our program now, they're in our program through June 30th of 2031. And that's one thing that I love about us. So the earlier you enroll with us, it's not more money, it's just more time you get with our coaches to help develop your child for where they're at in their process. So our middle schoolers, we're preparing and helping them for high school. So and as far as the range of our programs run between 3,000 and 8,500, depending on what you're looking for and what you want. That gives them, again, that, that structure for what they need and for every single part of the process along the way. So that's, kind of an overview of our programs. Anything I didn't mention that you want to add in about that, Art?
No, the one thing is that we have various types of programs versus one-on-one type programs versus group programs as well. So depending upon your needs, depending upon the student's needs, we could determine that based on that, which program would be appropriate for you.
Right. Yeah, so that's a one cost to get them through their high school graduation, not a year by year cost. So that's just something that I love about us, that we do different than most people out there. So when you think about it, it's very inexpensive if you're enrolling, a middle schooler, and break it down per year.
Exactly. Okay, let's see. I know we have 3 more minutes here. Any other questions? Now it's 2 minutes. Any other questions from the gallery here? Any other questions? Okay, like I said here, If you are interested, please post your Head Start on a and so you can book their free 15-minute Head Start call with Coach Stephanie. We greatly appreciate you being on, and we know that you could choose anything on a Monday evening, and you chose us, which is we are so honored and privileged that you
Yes.
chose us to listen in. So thank you, Coach Stephanie. We are again College Admission Secrets. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you have any more questions, please send it through us we do have our website at college admission with no s secrets.com. Okay. With that said, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening,
Yeah.
and we will
Thank you,
talk to you
everyone.
later.
Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you.
I appreciate
Yes.
it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.